Welcome. If you like this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps spread the word and helps make more of these videos possible. If you like this video even more, you can make a recurring donation via Patreon or a one-time donation via Ko-fi. The links are all in the description below. Enjoy the video.
Hello again, this is Karia and I have another video for you today. Today I'll be doing a review of this book called Watercolor With Me in the Forest by Dana Fox. And before I start, I sound a little bit groggy because it's been a rough week. There's been I've been feeling really sick. I haven't been 100%, but I owe you guys a video. It's been a long time since I had a video, so here I am doing my best. So if I'm not 100%, then this is why. Best I can. Alright, anyway, so this is a book that was recommended to me by one of my friends on Instagram, Diana, and she has this book, and so I went and I looked it up, and I was really confused about what it was. I was like, is this a coloring book? Like, what is this? Is this a watercolor book? Like, what is this? So this is the most fascinating mix of a watercolor how-to book and a coloring book and a watercolor book. Like, it's really interesting. So it's called Watercolor With Me in the Forest, and in the forest makes it look like there's going to be more of them, but as far as I know, this is the only one. So it's called Watercolor With Me in the Forest. It makes it look like there's going to be a series, but as far as I know, this is the only one. So what this is this is a book, and the paper is really interesting. On one side, it's sort of smooth and kind of like maybe like a light multimedia paper, and on the back it's textured. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's textured like watercolor paper. And what this book is that it is a how-to book and a coloring book and a watercolor book all in one. So she starts with, telling you how the book is going to be broken up, and then the rest of the book basically follows this format here, where it's directions and her telling you what to do on one side, and on the other side it is some work for you to do and some sort of watercolor for you to do. Let me show you another page. Let me just proceed on, and then I'll show you guys. I did this one. In fact, I'm going to pause right here and get it. I had it and I don't remember what I did with it, but I had it because I want to show you how this works. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Okay, so what I did here is I basically took it's kind of a little pencil outline she has, and I tried to replicate it on a sheet of watercolor paper. I believe that this is Arches 100% cotton. Don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Yeah, that's what this one is. So then I just basically followed her directions. Okay, I didn't really follow her directions. She suggested yellow ochre, and I thought that color was too light, so I did a different color, and then I went back in and I tried to do it. Oh, and I didn't realize I didn't finish the top, but she gives you directions on how to do every stage. So the directions, there's no images of each step in the directions. I don't know if you can see, but there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5. That's how they go, but there's no drawings for each individual step. You just have to follow the directions. So you can do what I did here, which is to sketch off the base into another page and then reuse this, or you can do what I did. Hold on. And then she's got a bunch of different ones with various levels of complexity, and she shows you how to do them. But let me show you the one that I did on this paper. Here it goes. So, or you can do them on this paper here. This is what I did here, as you can see, and it's pretty close to what she has. The only thing is I didn't have the exact color, so I had to try to mix as close to the colors that she suggests. And that's one of the things that I don't like about this book, is there isn't another watercolor book that I have sort of has a page where they go through all or most of the colors that are used in the book. Here there's not that page, so each piece has its own set of colors, and there isn't one page with all the colors, but still, it still is workable. Now this paper is not the best paper, it's not the highest quality paper to work on. I found that this paper lifts a little bit too easily, and she ends up asking you to do layers, and so you end up having a little bit too much lifting. Having said that though, I believe that from the look of it, it looks like she may have used the same paper to do her sketches, so you can see a little bit of lifting in her sketches too. So that helps a little bit, that you see a pretty realistic version of what it's going to look like for you. So I was really happy about that, because I was afraid that it was something that was done on, like, you know, her sketch was done on like Arch's 300 page, and then she's giving you this paper to work on, and there's no way that you'll be able to replicate it. I think that what she has here and what she's asking you to do, you could pretty easily replicate with the paper that she has. So there's that. So that's one of the main issues that I have with this, is there isn't one set of colors, so you just have to go through each individual page. So there's that. So the next thing that she does is she starts you off with like this, where the paper is dry and the paint is dry. So this is wet on dry paper. So that's the first part of the book, and then there's a little section where you sort of learn to do wet on wet, and you can see here that you can try to replicate it on the paper that she has, or you can use your own paper like I did here. So you can do various types of wet on wet, and then so this next part of it, all the drawings will have at least one part of it that is wet on wet. I like the fact that she has this line art that you can duplicate it, and that all the line art is relatively simple. There's a couple of ones where the line art is a little bit more complicated, where I would have trouble replicating like what she has. That one is relatively simple. Even the tree is relatively simple. This is one of the more complicated ones. Let me try to get you to the most complicated line art that she has. This one is probably the most complicated of the line arts in terms of the animals, and then there's a later one that's house, where it's a little bit more complicated, but it's still doable. So for all of these, you're going to be doing various wet on wet techniques, and the wet on wet section is actually surprisingly small. So after the wet on wet section, then there is she has like a section on painting fur. So it's really detailed. So there's a section where she shows you how to paint fur, and then a lot of the following drawings, so it builds on in order. So while you can do any page you want in any order, there is some amount of building. Let me show you something else before I head out. Hold on. So this is more of the painting fur, but let me show you the water on ink. So she goes through more of offering you increasingly complicated sort of fur painting details. I definitely want to try the beaver, this part here. So then, and now she goes to ink and wash. So she shows you how to do ink and wash, and she has some ink started. Hold on, and then there's more ink and wash. So, and then it continues to be even more ink and wash. So for this, I think you have to ink over it, ink over the pencil sketches. But there you go. So that's the last part, is ink and wash, and it gets increasingly complicated. Look at this one. So I think I've shown you most of the ones that are here, and then it's the end section. But the other thing is that it's supposedly, she says in the introduction, I'll show you with this page since I finished this one. It says in the introduction that the pages are quote unquote easy to remove, but that I don't see that they're perforated. So so I'm not going to say that they're quite perforated, but she says that they're easy to remove. You can actually see the texture much better here of the paper. So it has a sort of watercolor like texture, but you can see how easily it lifts. So you can see the lifting that happens there, even when I'm not trying to lift. So this is not, you know, this is not like premium watercolor paper, but it's still really good. And I think this is probably paper that should be used for coloring books because it's so good. But anyway, so I think that that's something to do with the way that it's bound, because it does look like it would be easy to remove individual pages if that's what you wanted to do. And in fact, that's one of the ways that is intended to be used. You can remove individual pages and then frame them. So that's pretty much how this goes. So overall, I really like this book. This book is a lot of fun. Please ignore the fact that I'm also getting sick in addition to everything else. My wife is a teacher, so it's back to school, and every time she goes back to school, I get sick. So there's that. So overall, it's a really good book. There's a lot of information here. If you're into watercolor at all and you're not a professional watercolor artist and you're looking for sort of like step one, this is a good step one kind of book. There's a lot of stuff that isn't here because of the way that she does. There's no color theory here. There's no mixing charts or anything like that. So that kind of stuff is left off more to be filled in a different book. But I appreciate the way that it's done here. I mean, it's not going to be your all-in-one course where you're going to start on page 1 and then by the end you're going to be able to, do a watercolor version of the Sistine Chapel. That's not this book, but it is going to show you how to make some beautiful, interesting, and easy to draw sort of whimsical kind of things. So overall, I really like this book. I found it to be extremely useful. I was able to produce something, this was the day that I got the book. Even though I didn't finish it, it's still really, I still really like what I did. And this, which is finished, it was done on the paper that's here. So if you don't want to have to go through the trouble of getting your own paper, you can do that. Overall, the instructions are relatively easy to follow, as you can see here. Even if there's no pictures for you to follow each individual step, it's still easy to follow. So I definitely recommend this book, and I like this book. And if you are into watercolor at all and you want to learn how to do some basic watercoloring, this book is a fun book to get, and I see why it's so popular. So it's a mix of a coloring book and a watercolor book and a how-to book all in one, and it's done a really good job of doing that. So thank you guys so much for watching and for putting up with me. As always, there'll be a video of one of the cats doing something, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.